Math B, we are doing 1.2b lesson today, so go ahead and take out your lesson notes. This is solving multi-step linear equations, but now we have variables on both sides. So whenever your homework says model, you don't actually need to model. I'm just going to do a quick reminder of what these bars represent. So these are algebra tiles. The larger bars represent an x, and the smaller boxes represent a 1, and when they're shaded in, it's just the negative version of them. This line down the middle is an equal sign. So on the left side here, we have a positive 5x, we have a positive 4, and then we also have a negative x. And you can write it as plus negative x or minus x. On the right side, we have two boxes around these x's. So we have two groups of x plus 3. So now we're going to go ahead and we don't need to model our solving process, but we're going to go ahead and solve algebraically. So when we solve this, I want you to go ahead and write a couple steps here. The first step is that I want you to simplify each side of the equation before you start moving things around. That's going to make your life easier. So simplify each side of the equation first. So how we do that is we just combine like terms on the left side and combine like terms on the right side. So on the left side, I have a 5x and a negative x. 5x and negative x will equal 4x. And then I still have a plus 4 equals. And then you can do this in 2 steps or you can do this in 1 step. But I'm going to go ahead and distribute as well. So 2 times x and 2 times 3 equals 2x plus 6. Now we have something where I can't combine an x and a 4, and I can't combine a 2x and a 6. So I have simplified each side separately first. The next step is I want you to move the smallest variable to the other side. This is not the necessary way, but it is going to make sure that your life is easier. So 2x is the smaller one here. So to get rid of it, I'm going to move it to the other side. And now I have 2x plus 4 is equal to 6. Now it looks like any other equation that you've done. So we can just go ahead and subtract 4 and then get 2x equals 2, divide by 2, and get x equals 1. Now it's asking us to verify our solution. So to verify our solution, we need to actually plug it back into our equation and make sure it works. But when you are verifying your solution, I want you to write yourself a little note. You need to verify into the original equation. Because if you made a mistake between the original simplification process and you plugged it back in after you had made a mistake, your answer would seem like it was actually correct. So our original equation was 5x plus 4 minus x equals 2 times x plus 3. Now, our answer was 1, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to plug it in wherever I see an x. 5x means 5 times x, so that's just 5. And then plus 4 minus x. So x was 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and plug in minus 1. I can also just write it as minus 1 right there. So if I were to simplify the left side, I would get 5 plus 4, which is 9, and then 9 minus 1 is 8. So I want to make sure that the right side also equals 8 when I plug in x is 1. So 2 and then 1 plus 3. So instead of distributing here, I can actually now combine the 1 and 3 because those are just two numbers now. So 2 times 4, and I get my 8 as well, so my verification works out. So now it's giving us another problem to do. We don't actually need to model, but we can use this space to solve if we would like. I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite the equation. 6x minus 3 is equal to 2 times x plus 3, and then minus 1. So I want you to just go ahead and pause this and try this one on your own for a second. So go ahead and pause the video here. Okay, so hopefully you've distributed and you've combined like terms, and you've at least gotten to this point where you have simplified each side first. If you don't have this on your paper, make sure you write that down. Simplify each side of the equation, and then, move the smallest variable first. So let's go ahead and go back to this. Now, if I'm looking at this, I have a 6x and a 2x, so I want to subtract the 2x because that variable is smaller in this case. So now I have 4x minus 3 equals 5. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I'm going to get 4x is equal to 8, and I'm going to divide by 4 and get x equals 2. So now it's asking us to verify our solution. I'm just going to do the verification here. When I verify, I go back to the original equation. So I'm just going to rewrite it again. 6x minus 3 equals 2 times x plus 3 minus 1. And when I plug this in, 6 times 2 minus 3 equals 2 times, again, x is 2. Now I'm going to simplify the left side and the right side separately to make sure that they equal each other. So I kind of like to even make sure that I'm not trying to move anything around. 6 times 2 is 12 minus 3, so this is 9. 2 plus 3 here is 5, so 2 times 5, and then minus 1. So 10 minus 1, we get 9 equals 9. Our verification works out. Okay, now in this case, we're looking at number 3. I can't simplify each side any further. So sometimes you're going to get an equation, you can't combine a negative n and an 8, and you can't combine a 5n and a 32. So I have to think about which is the smallest variable. It is okay if you don't move the smallest variable first, but it just might mean that you make more steps for yourself. So I'm going to look at negative n and 5n. In this case, negative n is smaller because it's negative. So I'm going to add n to each side. Negative n plus positive n will just cancel, and all that's left on the left side is 8. Then 5n plus n is 6n plus 32, looks like any other equation now. So now I'm going to subtract 32 from each side. 8 minus 32 is negative 24. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide by 6 on both sides. So n is equal to negative 4. It's going to ask me to verify. So when I verify in this one, I have to be kind of careful because if I look at my original equation, it started with a negative n. So when I plug in negative 4, I plug it in like that. So negative n plus 8 equals 5n plus 32. I'm just going to rewrite the original equation. Now, negative 4 plus 8 equals 5 times n was negative 4, and then plus 32. Now, if I'm going to look at the negative 4 here, that's going to become a positive 4. Positive 4 plus 8 is 12. 5 times negative 4 is equal to negative 20 plus 32. That's also 12. So this will work out. I want you to try number 4 on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here and give you about 3 minutes to try this problem and verify your answer. Okay, so first thing I did was distribute the 4 here. So I got 4x minus 4 plus 3x equals x plus 2. Then I combined like terms. So I did 4x plus 3x, and I got 7x minus 4 equals x plus 2. Then, now that each side is simplified, I move the smallest variable. Again, you don't have to do this, but if you didn't get the same answer and you didn't do it this way, it just means you made a mistake somewhere along the way. So try to catch that mistake. I move the smallest variable first. 6x minus 4 equals 2. Add 4, 6x equals 6, and you get x minus 1. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this one. It says, Katie solved the equation, but made a mistake in her solving process. Circle and explain in words the mistake that Katie made. On these mistake problems, I actually think they're way easier to do if I just rewrite the equation and I try to solve it on my own first, because sometimes it's hard to find the mistake. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. I am looking at this and I could try to clear the fraction, but I think I'm just going to distribute first to not mess myself up with distributing. So 3/4 x equals half x plus 2. Half of 4 is just 2. Now that I've distributed, I'm going to go ahead and clear the fraction. So I have to think of what number can I multiply by that clears all of those denominators. So I can multiply 3/4 times 4. 4 times 3 is 12, divided by 4 is 3. So this is just 3x. 4 times half is just 2x. And then 4 times 2 is just 8. Now, this is where you move the smallest variable first. If I moved 3x, it would be okay, but I would get 0 equals negative x plus 8, and I'd have to move the x back. So instead, I'm going to move the 2x, and I'm going to get x equals 8, and that's my answer there. So let's go ahead and try and find Katie's mistake. The first thing Katie did was distribute, and we're going to see, did she distribute correctly? Half x and then half times 4, and it looks like she distributed correctly. The next thing she did was multiply by 4, but I don't see her multiplying by 4 on this side. So this step, she made a mistake. So we're going to say Katie forgot to multiply the right side by 4 when trying to clear the fraction. Okay. Now I'm going to go down to 6 and 7, but I know 6, 7, yeah. Okay, we're going to pause the video, and I want you to try this with your table partner, okay? I'm going to give you 5 minutes to try both of these problems. Okay, so the first thing I did in number 6 was distribute, and I got 10 minus 7n minus 14 equals 1 minus 5n. Then I wanted to simplify each side separately. I can't do anything on the right side, so I combined 10 and negative 14 to get negative 4. So negative 4 minus 7n equals 1 minus 5n. Then I wanted to move the smallest variable. This one's a little bit trickier because it's negative 7 and negative 5. It's okay if you added 5n instead. You would have just gotten negative 2n on the other side. You're not going to get it wrong. You just might lose a negative somewhere. So continue the process. We get n equals negative 5 halves, or negative 2.5. For the next one, I wanted to clear the fraction right away. So I multiplied by 3 on both sides first. 3 times 1/3 x is just 1x, minus 3 equals 6x plus, I made a mistake here. This is the wrong answer. So let's go ahead and correct this. This is actually 12. So if I want to subtract 12 from each side, this would be negative 15 divided by 3. If you got negative 3 and you were questioning yourself, you were correct. All right, moving on to the next one, we're just going to solve one method for this one, just as a little bit of practice for decimals. So go ahead and rewrite the problem, and I want to clear the decimal here. So what is the first thing that I would do if I wanted to clear the decimal? First thing I have to do is look at how many places does the decimal need to move. In this case, it's only 1. So I want to multiply both sides by 10. This would become 2x minus 20 equals 4x plus 50. Then I can't do anything on each side of the equation, so I want to move the smallest variable. In this case, it's 2x, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. I get negative 20 equals 2x plus 50, and if I go ahead and keep solving, I get negative 70 equals 2x. I want to go ahead and continue. Negative 70 divided by 2 is negative 35. So for the next problems, 9 through 14, I want you to pause the video here, and I'm going to give you about 15 minutes, maybe closer to 12, to go ahead and work through these. You can work quietly with your table partner. Just make sure that you're focused. Remember, if we're going to go over the steps again, simplify each side first, and then after you simplify each side separately, I want to move the smallest variable. Again, it's not going to be wrong if you don't follow these steps, but there are probably going to be more steps and more chances for mistakes. So go ahead and pause the video here. All right, so now that you have worked through these problems, there were a lot of good fraction problems on here for practice. The first one, we couldn't simplify anything else. So I went ahead and moved 2 in, and I moved 2 in by adding a positive 2 in, and I got 12 in minus 4 equals 4. I added 4, 12 in equals 8, and I got n equals 8/12. However, I know 4 goes into both of those numbers, so I have to simplify my answer. So your answer is n is equal to 2/3. If you got n equals 8/12, it's just not simplified. On 10, I went ahead and distributed the 9, so I got 9x minus 9 minus 5x equals x minus 6. Then I combined 9x and negative 5x, so I got 4x minus 9 equals x minus 6. X was a smaller variable here, so I moved that to the other side. 3x minus 9 equals negative 6. Added 9, 3x equals positive 3, and then divided by 3, so I got x equals 1. The next one here, I just wanted to clear the fraction right away. So I multiplied everything by 4. 3/4 of 4. I could do 4 times 3, which is 12, and then divide by 4. That's 3a. Then 4 times a is 4a. A lot of people might have forgotten that part. And then 4 times negative 1, which is negative 4. So check that your first step is correct. Then we got 7a minus 4 equals 1. I added 4 to both sides. 7a equals 5, and then I divided by 7. You can keep your answer as a fraction. Your answer is a equals 5/7. Next one, I wanted to clear the fraction, so I multiplied everything by 10 on this one. 1/5 of 10. That's the same as saying 10 times 1 divided by 5. So that's 2n. Then 10 times 2, 20. 3/10 of n, or 10 is just 3. And then this one, I just needed to move one variable to the other side. And then this one, I wanted to clear both of those denominators, so I multiplied both sides by 4. Now, I want you to pay attention here because 4 and 2, I rewrote it as just 4 divided by 2, so it really is just like saying 2 on the outside. Then I can distribute that in. This one here is like 4 divided by 4, which will just cancel, and you can just leave what's in the parentheses there, h minus 1. Then when there's nothing else left outside the parentheses, you can get rid of them and just say h minus 1. When you resolve that, it's h equals negative 7. And then our last one here. This one was kind of tricky because you could have cleared the fraction or you could have distributed first. So I chose to distribute first because it's easy to make a mistake trying to clear the fraction with a number on the outside of the parentheses. So when I distributed, I did 2/3 times a and 2/3 times negative 9. So I wrote that out, and the way that I did this is 2 times 9, which is 18, and then divided by 3. So that's how I got that 6 right here. Then I wanted to clear the fraction in the second step. So I multiplied everything by 6. 4a minus 36 equals 6 plus 1a. Moved the a to the other side. 3a minus 36 equals 6, and then added 36 and divided by 3. So my answer here, you can't see it, is a equals 14. So again, simplify each side first and then move the smallest variable to the other side. So you should have a lot of homework time and a lot of time to work on IXL after you do your homework. So make sure you do the homework first, and then you have a lot of time to work on the IXL.